Yo, what's up? I'm back with another video right here. Welcome back to my own channel. It's kind of weird saying that, but this is that child right here, Phoenix. Um, right here to carry on with this astrology knowledge that I'm trying to get people onto right here quick. So as we are now continuing with everything right here, we are just continuing with the part with the counteracts that are counteracting with the introduction that I've actually done. So I realized that there are some things that I might have not really touched on in full detail, but I'm here to get back on board onto that. So this is like a sort of like an introduction part 2, but it's not really an introduction like that, but it's sort of like a carry on to what is really important when you have to look at astrology. And right now I'm really just gonna get into the houses, what the houses actually entail and what to look out for, whenever we are actually basing onto this type of knowledge. Now, whenever we go to houses in astrology, houses are just basically areas of life, areas and locations and spaces of life. Like just how I've said that astrology is, we are trying to, it's like we are trying to observe the world around us, but this is actually goes way much more deeper than that. It goes way much more deeper than that, to the point where even the way the creation of this whole world, it revolves around that. So now this like, take a look at like this, right? Take a look at like this, right? You got a whole full 360. There are 12 houses, right? Let's do some math right here. There are 12 houses, right? And there are 12 zodiac signs, so within those 12 you got like the whole totality. What makes a 360? 12 times 12, that's a 360, right? So that's like the travel of how the creation is being made, so the whole houses is all about the creation of the time and space that we are in, and all and we are living in a sort of in a world that is being created into that perspective. And even so, this gives you a perspective into what is actually going on. So without me jumping through words, let me be specific. So the whole 12 houses, right, being the areas of life, being the locations and spaces in the world we are trying to observe being around us, and through all these dimensions that are actually filtering through. There are 9 dimensions though, like let's get that straight. There are 9 dimensions whenever I'm talking about dimensions, which is something that I'm gonna get on as I'm continuing with this journey. So with this 12th house, I always I'm not really fond of like the Bible that much. I don't really like read it that much, but I hear a lot of things. But at the same time, I know where truth is, and I know where truth is not. I know where truth is, I know when truth is not, but I see things for what they are. I try to see things for what they are, like, because take a look in the book of Genesis, like, right, as I've heard in the voice. I may not be quoting exactly the words, but it said the creations of the heavens and the earth. Now let me give you a perspective on that, right? Let me give you a perspective on that. In the perspective of that, it's all about the air and the earth. the element itself is all about the air and the earth, but it doesn't really talk about the creations of the fires and waters. This is where I'm actually getting into. This is where I'm getting into. You gotta really like get into this shit. Now, if ever we are countering with the houses, we gotta really dig through deep into how creation was made, because there are some hidden knowledges that are not even like attached into, like it's sort of like a knowledge that is being kept away from us, and you sort of like get to this thing where you just question like, okay, now it happens that there's a certain information that is allowed to be presented into the world, and there's a certain information that is not allowed to be presented to the world, which may counteract as when beings like us who trying to come and trying to figure out that world, and other ones that I may shout out, but I already know, you know, that I know there are a handful of people who are like-minded, who can actually see the world for what it is, but they get attacked. So this is the war we are actually facing right now. This is the war we are facing. It's right here. So now we getting into this type of subjects. We are kind of just wanting to make sure that we know what we may not know or being shown to us. So right now, whenever we're countering, this actually goes right there straight into the knowledge of the houses. There are fire and water houses that God took as a whole 360. You know, and as a whole 360. I may not make sense to other people, but it is what it is. It is what it is. So there's a 360 that it was took through the whole 12 houses. Whenever you take a 12, there's another 12 that counteracts. So when you do math, that's a whole 360, and like sun travels, you know, through this whole, and the moon travels, Mercury travels, those travels, it depends on those houses. That's why we have calendars. That's why we have time. That's why we are able to pinpoint like and create certain shit because of the knowledge in the houses, which is deep. And I do this as a second video because I do this for a reason. I should be starting with the science, but I'm not really here for the cloud like that. I'm not saying it's for cloud or anything. I'm not saying people who start on astrology and go straight to the houses are all about the cloud. I'm not saying that, but I just want to give you like a clear perspective on the journey of how actually astrology is. I am making this as a second video. In fact, take this video as like it's the first video, because that was the introduction. That was an introduction. So that was an actually introduction that actually now, which is now it. This is the first video, because now I'm getting into the houses, because the houses are actually the first. We're actually the first. I don't like to use the word ancient, but yeah, what it is. The first ancient like ways of astrology in the way creation was made is through the houses. Areas of life. These are the areas of life in the deepest core. But I'm finna make it simple because I don't want to make this like because I'm trying to get like from the bottom up going down so that you can actually see what is actually happening. So now I'm gonna, you know, also get it to understand so that everyone is on the same playing field, because I don't like saying like it seems like I'm saying like the big ass shit. Like this is real truth, bro. Like real truth. Like first houses were first, so I'm getting straight right there on point that this is the first video of my astrology. Take this as the first one, because the first existence into the stars, into how creation was made, is through the houses. And this is where I'm actually getting into whenever I'm getting into. Now note, as I'm going to start with the first house, know that the first is the beginning of the last, and the last is the beginning of the first. The last is the end. No, the last is the end for the first time. Get this straight. The end is the last is the end for the first time, and the first is the beginning for the last, leading into the last. So that thing right there is noting within the first house and the 12th house. It's the first house and the 12th house. And now, and then within the center, within the center, you got now how things are actually being made. But I'm gonna get accurate as time moves on, because I don't want to go too much into this video. I don't want to make it a little long, because I want to make sure that it's more accommodative. I say things straight. I don't get around words and stuff. So now, the first house is the creation within the self, like the realizing and the knowledge within the self. Take as the first house as like your personnel, like the first fires and the first fire in creation. And fire is not really the way how it looks in reality. It's just a representation, and everything you see right here on earth is a representation. It's not truly what it is, you know. It's not really truly what it is, but these are influences, and these are like forms and symbols that are shown to give us a clear perspective of what is actually happening into the world. So you gotta get on board with that. You gotta get on board with that. So like, your first house is your personality, creation, like first creation, and personality, your personal issues, like it's the knowledge about yourself. The second house is like the house of values. It's when now within the self you're realizing the other, because it's the true frequency happening right there. It's not only just like the second house, it's the true frequency. The one is self, second is the other. You know, one is first, second is the other, and then now we are now getting into now to see what we are actually dealing with. Let me fix the lighter on right here. I hope it's working out. So yes, I hope it's working out. So yeah, kind of made this late, but yeah. So yeah, with the one is self, two is the two is like is the other. But you know, I'm just trying to give like a little bit of numerology at the same time, but these are not truly the same as I'm explaining. But yeah, let me move this chair. I don't know if the lighting is good, but I think it's still the same. Sorry, man. Yeah. So, and then your second house is about your values, your value systems. Like it's the house for resources. You know, I'm trying to make this simple. It's the house of resources. It's like the house. It's the house where you put, you nurture something for it to grow. It is the growth. It is the house of growth. It is the house of stability. But in terms of how do you get that stability, you get that stability by taking time into the things that you value. Because whatever that you value, you gotta put time into it, and you're gonna put so much appreciation and value into it, for it to be resourceful for you, so that it can benefit you So it's the house of values, and this is also where the money is at for people. This is where the money is at. That's how you have to know where can you get that. If ever you wanna know where can you actually get that, check into the house lords, and if your house lords, check into the planet that rules that sign. If ever, let's say you got Aries In the second house, check Mars. Check Mars and check the house that Mars is at. Like exactly like in the planet in your natal chart. Check where Mars is at and check where like which house Mars is in. So the house lord for the second house will be that house. So yeah, the third house is your surroundings, your neighborhood, your neighborhood friends, like your friends, like things that you are familiar with, and everything that deals with the familiarity. And then your fourth house is your home, like things that happen within the home, your yin, like your private space, your secluded space thing, your space where you feel the most comfortable to express your inner self, or you know what I'm saying, like when you feel comfortable the most. And then the fifth house is where you are literally your fun and enjoyment. You know, fourth house is also family. It denotes how your family is, like how you was brought upon, also how you was brought upon, and what is happening within the home, the domestic. It can be domestic issues, whether positive or negative. It can tell what is actually happening within the home. Are there family feuds, or is there any joy into, so yes, this is what is happening right here. And also the fifth house is your fun and enjoyment house, like what excites you, like really what excites you, what really does excite you, like what gets you going, what gets you enjoyment, like your creativity, but creativity in the form of expression. Like when it comes to entertainment, it can be entertainment, your whatever that entertains you. We are different right here, so let's not be narrow. Like there's a lot of things that entertain us as people. I get entertained by music, but somebody else might be entertained by their work, depending on the sign that is in their fifth house. So you know what I'm saying, like it's a lot of different things, so let's not be even like go near and thinking, so yeah. But to make it things simple, your parties are like your area in your party is like your fifth house, like that's like your fifth house right here. So yeah, that's what's happening right here. That is actually exactly what's happening. And then your sixth house is like the area of work, what you are working on, what you're putting into your day-to-day basis. You know what I'm saying? To your day-to-day, to your routine. If you're not doing something every day, you're not activating your sixth house. Of which is you need to do something a little bit and put schedule and time into it, even if it's a sub-schedule, so that you can add on a substance into whatever you're working on, your craft, and into everything to make that perfect enough so that you can manifest it to fruition, so that you can gain a status into your 10th house. That's something to give you right there. And then your 7th house is the house of relationships, but not just relations to people, it's places, things, whatever you relate to. It's whatever you love and appreciate and value, the person you love and appreciate and value, your close friend, your best friend, but you have to learn how to do things in moderation in this house, because you may pleasure something so much and fall into bad habits. Anything can go in the motherfucking 7th house, bro. Like, okay, now I'm getting onto the 8th house. The 8th house is like the mysticism and the occult, your transformations. Let's say you've been you've been eating like a lot of junk, and then that shit turns out and then you get a stomachache or whatever the fuck happens. So that is a transformation to stop you, or to transform yourself, for you to learn how to control your desires in a lot of ways. There are so many things that was a dumbass shit, but you get what I'm saying. Yeah, man, let me stop being crazy right here. Yeah. Now the 9th house is your higher learning, or your higher knowledge, and your education, and your schools, universities, and college, and all that, you know what I'm saying? Like all that motherfucking shit. Like your spirituality, your morality. What are your morals? Like what are your morals? What, you know? Like think of the ninth house. The ninth house is just like an expression of the 12th house. Really, your morals, your belief systems. Your belief systems, 12th house, ninth house, morals. If you have morals, there are certain things you can't really do because your morals are attached to your spiritual system. Your 10th house is your 10th house is your status, what you are actually known for. If you're known as a bum, then fine. You know, I'm not really like being offensive right here, but this is what's happening. Man, the light is going off on me. But yeah, let's be quick, you know. So your 10th house is what you're known for, what you're actually known for. I'm known for being a photographer. I'm known for being a musician. I'm known for now being an astrologer and posting astrology things and all that. There are a lot of things you can create a status on for what you're known for, but you have to work on it. Go to the 6th house, and you have to nurture it. Go to the 2nd house, because these are the earth houses right here. Earth right here, we are in reality right now, so yeah. And then your 11th house is a house of associations, people you don't meet every day, but you meet them from time to time. You know, the close friend you don't really meet. The close friend, you take a look at it like this. You got your neighborhood friends, right? And then you got close friends that you know, but 11th house takes that broader and then creating organizations through that, and create organizations that can build upon structure, gaining structure in some type of way, because the 11th house is contrary to Saturn, which Saturn rules Aquarius. That's another thing. 12th house is your subconscious realm, is your beliefs, your dreams, your illusions, your creativities, and all that. So this is what I'm trying to give you right there, but I was trying to like make sure that you get on board into knowing these things in the simplest way, so that you can actually be an astrologer also in future, you know. And I'm acting as a recruiter, you know. I learn from others also. I'm a student, you know what I'm saying? So I ain't ashamed to give credit when it's due to things I learned. I don't give a shit, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just doing what I do, man, like, cause it is a purpose for me to serve people, you know, making sure that I be a service in a formation, physically, emotionally, whatever, as long as I do this shit. So astrology is like one of the things, you know, that I'm counteracting as part of trying to get people on board into this thing, so that they can actually know themselves a little bit more. In the next video, I'm gonna touch on, before I go into the planets, I'm gonna make this on purpose. Before I go into the planets, I wanna go into modalities. Or first, I wanna go into modalities, but anything may go. But I think I may go into modalities first, because I wanna get something a little bit straight right there. I'm not saying like you know, after the signs. I'm obviously after the houses there are planets, and after the planets there are signs. But before we get there, I want to make sure we get things straight. Okay, no, in fact, I'm gonna get to the planets first. Let me get to the planets and follow like my plan. Make sure that it's structured. I'm a Venus in Cap, so yeah. Otherwise, let me stop talking. Otherwise, thank you for watching. You know, still, you know, well, however you feel, you know, like if you really get along with me, then fine. You know, I ain't really forcing nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, but if you feel like you can just get on board, you know, just continue with me with my journey, no matter how big or small my YouTube is. I don't really care. I'm just doing what I gotta do, so everything will be cool. You're connected to me and I'm connected to you. I'm finna create slogans also. I should, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I'm still trying to plan on slogans also. Yeah, but it's all good. It's all good. Otherwise, thank you. I'ma see you next motherfucking time. Thank you.